Hello and welcome to what promises to be yet another thrilling instalment of action from REL Division 6. And this week we're covering weeks 6 and 7, plus your mid-season review. So this week, as I said, we're going to be covering weeks 6 and 7, and plus a midweek mid-season review. So what that means is it's going to be all of the action. Going to cover that from the 2 weeks, and then I'm going to go through and give each team in the division a review. Talk about how your teams have built up. Talk about my predictions, expectations. The beginning of the season for each team, how teams have done compared to how I thought they would do, and then teams that I think I'm going to predict are going to go through to the playoffs, teams that I'm going to have some advice for, and tell you about who my surprises were, and just sort of general dig in deep to your teams, and just sort of give you guys some insight into what an outside person would say about your teams, and also what I'm saying about your competitors in the division as well. So that should be pretty good. Before we get through to all of that, or get into all of that, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on things that are happening in the wider world around Rebel, with your Rebel Shakedown. So this last 2 weeks, we've had, the big news is the REL World Cup qualifiers began last Wednesday, so the end of week 6, beginning of week 7. And it's for those of you that aren't signed up for it and aren't taking your shot at getting a ticket to go to the World Cup proper. It's a Swiss tournament, 1200 TV, pretty interesting format, which I'll get into in a second. And then it's going to be over 6 matches, and that's 2 weeks per match. Because it's cross-region, we are giving coaches 2 weeks to get their games played. So that's 2 weekends, that's 2 weeks. So hopefully with that amount of time, everyone's going to have enough time to be able to comfortably schedule the games at a time that's convenient for both parties, especially if you're playing, you're playing somebody that's in Europe or in Australia or, I don't know, Thailand or wherever. So pretty good. So far we've had a lot of games been played. I think it's well over half of the 130 teams have played, and we've had some really interesting games. Some games have been not gone the way I thought they would go. The other guy won. All deserved wins, but pardon me. Yeah, it's been interesting. I've been watching some of the game results come in, and been watching a few of the games as they happened. It's been some pretty good games happening. And now, if you are interested in following how your team is doing and how your team is stacking up, if you're in the World Cup qualifiers, or even if you're just not in it but you just want to see how teams are doing, maybe you want to see how other coaches in your division are doing, or maybe you have like a favorite coach that in Rebel that you like to follow because they play the same team as you, and you just want to see how they're doing and what have you. Major Byte actually created a really nice site for giving you the lowdown on progress and games that have happened in the World Cup qualifiers. So I'm just actually this is a first. I'm going to depart from this being in client, and I'm going to take a quick look at the sites. Here it is. So we have basically it's 2 pages, or 2 main pages. So we have the standings page, and it shows you all of the teams that have played and how they're doing. there is somebody there at the top of the leaderboard, which I'll get to in a second, in case you hadn't heard. But yeah, it basically shows you. So we're in the round 1 of those 6 rounds, and so obviously if you win, you get 3 points. If you get a draw, you get 1, and if you play and you lose, then you're at no points. And I believe within those rankings, it's basically TD differential is placing you the higher. That didn't make sense. Basically, you're ranked within your points on TD differential. So if you're the highest TD differential and you won your game, then you're going to be number 1. If you are the lowest of the 3 points, so you're number 44, I believe that's pretty neat. So yeah, Unseen Walker is at 44th place, so he got a win. But it was probably, it was just a 1 goal difference. There we go. And so TD differential is 1. So he's going to be towards the bottom, but he's still got a win, so that's great. And as I said, there are 6 rounds. So obviously, if you win all 6 games, then you're pretty much guaranteed to go through to get a ticket. Although I and a lot of the admins are expecting teams to have, like, say, 5 wins and a draw. They're going to get tickets. Or maybe even a loss. We don't know how it's going to go, especially considering we have drawing matches as an option. But yeah, basically the highest ranked teams at the end of those 6 rounds are going to receive 1 of 4 tickets to go through to the World Cup. So yeah, and the site itself is pretty cool. So you can just look at the rankings. You can click on a team. So here's Chaos Subalu. He's in REL 1 right now, and he was a coach that I played with in REL 3 last season. So let's take a look at his game. And we've got the basic result there, but then you can look at the match details. You can just look at the team composition. You can see what he went for, and then you can see the results. And I've actually seen this site get built upon over the last few days. So I think a lot of this stuff is new. It was just like the rankings, and then it's now got these team builds added on, and maybe there's going to be more added on, and you're just going to see this site sort of evolve over the next few weeks. So that's pretty cool. One thing to warn you about, not warn you about, but just an advisory, I suppose. About half the time when I go to, it's rebel.net, REBBL.net, and the first few times I went to rebel.net, I ended up going through to the site and everything's fine. But then I found that about half the time when I go to rebel.net, it goes through to like a warning page saying, hey, this isn't a secure site, it may be phishing, and blah blah blah, and just sort of general voodoo warning, scary talk stuff. But if it's rebel.net, it's all good. Just push on through. See if you can push on through and just get through to the site. You should be able to create an exception and just get through to the site, and then you'll be good to go. But if you do rebel.net and you go through to this warning page, it isn't a suspicious site. Well, maybe to your browser it is, but it's all good. I'm here. Rebel.net, we're good. Check it out. Now, you may have noticed that yours truly is at the top of the leaderboard for the World Cup qualifiers. I actually had my first match yesterday. And if you go onto Discord, you actually have a World Cup qualifiers channel. and I won my game by a fair margin. So yeah, 7-0. Poor Chaos Time. He was goblins. I saw the draw and I was like, and then I looked at the team composition after the tickets had been sent out, and I was kind of, I was confident I would say, going into the game, that I was going to sort of do well. I'm not expecting to do as well further on I go. I think I just got lucky in my draw, and because I'm against goblins. This is a goblin team. It was a goblin team with 11 players, all secret weapons, and so I just scored quickly, and then he burnt up all 3 bribes, keeping the players on the pitch, and then I quickly scored again on the defense, his offensive drive, so it was my defensive, and that's it. His secret weapons were sent off, and then goblins without secret weapons and just with trolls, and he started off with 11 players, so he had 8 players. I think I injured one as well, so he was down to 7. So 5 goblins and 2 trolls against a badass, or hopefully badass, Wood Elf team. It was always going to be a pretty much a blowout. Great coach. He was very, very cool. He didn't get salty, or if he did, I didn't know about it. I wasn't rubbing it in his face, so I wasn't, because I knew that I was going to probably, unless things went drastically his way, I was probably going to get the win, a comfortable win. So I was being very cautious and being very nice. I am a nice guy anyway, but yeah, that was a really good win. I'm not expecting to do well. I'm not a Wood Elf player at all. I mean, I played lots and lots of elves, but I think this is actually the first time I've actually really played Wood Elves in like a league and competitive and trying to do something with them, rather than just sort of trying out the team. So I'm going to come up against an actual competent coach and with a good team, and I'm going to get my ass handed to me. I know I am, but it's all good. It's all good. I'm enjoying my 15 minutes of fame, but I'm under no illusions that I'm going to suddenly walk away with a ticket to the World Cup. I'm just having some fun. And this is what the team I went with. I went with 2 war dancers, one with tackle, one with strip ball. I went with a catcher with block, and a catcher with wrestle, and a thrower with accurate, and a kick. I think they're all solid skills. And just in case you don't know, the format was 1200 TV, and then you could pick up to 1 skill per player within that 1200 TV cap. And then they had this like point system, so you could only, well, you could take as many of a skill as you wanted, but once you took like a tier 1 skill with like block, which would be 2 points, and you took a second instance of it, I think it went up to like 5 or 8 points for that second taking of block, and you only got like a certain number of points per team depending on what tier you were in. So like I was Wood Elf, so I got like 11 points or maybe 9 points because they're a tier 1 team. So I had a very limited number of points to work with, so I had to get sort of very diverse. Like I couldn't go double up on skills really. So I went with something nice and offensive, because war dancers they come with blodge. They're pretty neat. So I went with tackle, strip ball. I went with block on my catcher, wrestle. So I've got a wrestle and a blodge catchers. That's just to keep them on their feet, keep them alive. And then obviously the throw with accurate, and the lineman with kick. I always love kick, so I've taken it. It's res format. it's great. I had a lot of fun. Of course, I had a lot of fun. I won my game 7-0. Even if I'm going to get my teeth kicked in next round, and the remaining rounds, I still think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's quite freeing to know that you can do anything you like with the team. You might lose, but you can do anything you like with the team, and they're all going to come back next round. Nothing's permanent. I don't have to worry about getting SPP on the right pieces because they're not getting SPP anyway. I don't have to worry about progression. It's all very freeing. So yeah, I recommend if you can't join now that it started, but I recommend that if you are involved, even if you didn't win your first game, stick with it. Just for having some fun and getting to play coaches that you haven't played before and you won't play again, or unlikely to play again. Coaches in other regions and other divisions. Should be a lot of fun. And if you take it in that spirit, it will be. Okay, back to business. And then also in my main league match in REL2, so week 6, I had a game versus the Leafy Mustard, coached by Grazoot. They are a Lizardman team. They're pretty neat, pretty scary. Grazoot had the game just before. He managed to get the final skill up, which was another movement up on his one of his skinks. So he actually now had a natural one-turning skink. He had like double move up and sprint and sure feet. Very, very cool piece. He had it at the end of the game before facing me. It was a natural one-turning skink for about 3 turns. I also managed to injure one of his Saurus, another movement bust. And going into the game, Grazoot's a great coach. Lizardmen are a great team. His team is a great team. He has like a strength 6 Bloxigor, I think it was. Just a terrible, scary piece. And he had like a number of really good Saurus. He had obviously the natural one-turning skink. But I am always quite confident facing Lizardmen, just because of the nature of my team. My team is very sort of agile, sneaky, and just sort of has a few tricks up its sleeve. And one of those tricks is having really good bullhawks. And one thing to know about Lizardmen team is that your ball carriers are skinks. They don't have access to general skills, which means they don't have access, unless they roll doubles, to sure hands. And if they're rolling a double on a skink, they're going to go for block, maybe wrestle, if they want to bullhawk skink themselves. But they very rarely go for sure hands unless they have a skink that's rolling 2 doubles. So most of the time I face Lizardmen teams, and that's a natural advantage I have, is that I have sort of 2 really good bullhawk pieces. I've got a agility 5 storm vermin who's blodge and tackle and mighty blow and all kinds of disgusting. Lots of coaches hate him. Not hate him because he's amazing, but hate him because he's a TV inefficient bloaty piece that could have claw and doesn't, and then a lot of, it's interesting actually, we're having this discussion on chat the other day. So Cheese X hates my piece. We're in the same division, we're playing in 2 weeks time, and he has vowed to kill the AG5 storm vermin. Been quite upfront about it because it's so bloaty and inefficient, and I should have taken claw on it, and lecturing me on what I should have done and how it's so inefficient, and how he's doing me a great favour by cutting it out of my team, and whatever other reasons he might have for wanting to kill my pieces, my nice pieces. It's all good. I mean, people are always trying to kill my pieces. I just find it kind of weird that people come up with some noble cause, like they're doing me some giant favour by killing my pieces. Anyway, so he was saying that, and then a lot of the bash coaches are like, yeah, it's so TV inefficient, and oh, it's so bloaty, and oh, you should have gone for claw, and oh my god, that's such a terrible piece. And then a lot of dash coaches like Hipster and a few other ones chimed in on chat, and your typical elf coaches, and they all chimed in, and they're like, no, I love that piece, and oh, that's really good, and there's kind of this giant debate that was going on REL chat. It was kind of cool, and I basically said, well, I'm not a big bash coach. My team isn't built to cause lots of damage. Totally see how having claw would be a good thing. If I could roll another double on that storm vermin, I would definitely get claw. I'm not turning my nose up or pushing away from or shunning claw on my storm vermin. Would definitely take it, but would I rather have a agility 5 blodge tackle mighty blow storm vermin, or a agility 5 non-dodge mighty blow tackle claw storm vermin? And I, being the coach that I am, I want that agility 5 blodge one, because he's a great ball hawk. He's a great sort of, he can dance through tackle zones and go and get the ball and go and get to that piece that's being protected. I love it. Anyway, I'm digressing in a big way. Anyway, and I also have another gutter runner that's wrestle strip, 2 heads, and he was perfect for the job facing Lizmen, because the ball carrier is going to invariably be skinks. It's going to be in a cage, and that Rog strip 2 heads gutter runner, he can just dance into cages, get you 2 red die, which works 90% of the time anyway when you have a strip ball, and basically get the guy to drop the ball, and then my big hands leap gutter runner jumps in, takes the ball, throws it away, and passes it on, and I score. Anyway, back to the game. It was good. I managed to basically rain on Grazoot's parade. I managed to get a few injuries. A really good game. Really good game. He made a few mistakes. I capitalised on those, and I had good dice. Ended up winning 3-0. That was week 6. Week 7, I was facing Zuark's Tree Kundo, and that's a really good Wood Elf coach. Zuark's pretty well known in Rebel. Made it through to playoffs, I think, a few times, or at least once, and caused major upsets. And I think that was in his rookie season. Was in Division 1, got moved down to Division 2 because he had Death Spiral. Still is in a Death Spiral, and he kicked my ass. No two ways about it. I have a weakness versus Wood Elves. Because they can out-elf bullshit me night and day. 24/7, 365. And I don't know how to handle that. I'm going to have to work on that. Anyway, he beat me quite handily. He beat me 4-2. So I lost a game. So now I'm sitting at 3-1-3, and I'm mid-table, and I'm doing okay. Anyway, enough about me, enough about my luck in World Cup qualifiers, my so-so season. Let's get on to you guys. So let's take a look at week 6. Week 6, cool. So we'll look at the bye weeks first. Just get those out of the way. So Ars Gotia, Rottingham Rockers, and Mutants in Human Clothing. 3 top teams in the division, and they all had 3 wins. Doesn't it make you sick? So yep, they're sitting pretty, and they all got nice free SPP, no injuries, probably a nice cash infusion into their bank accounts, and yeah, that was that. For the games that are actually played, a little bit more interesting, we had the Fogmire Fen Beasts versus You Worship Chaos. So this is Rolling Red versus Gazgul, I believe, and it was a 2-1 win for You Worship Chaos. This Norse team has had a little bit of a failure to launch as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but they haven't been living up to the expectations that I had for them. The Fogmire Fen Beasts are doing well. Well, they've been doing okay. And yeah, so this was a good win for You Worship Chaos. Take a quick look at the stats. You Worship Chaos had domination on ball possession. Looks like they just controlled the game. They didn't have as many blocks, and that's to be expected. They're facing Lizardmen, tough team to face as AV7, without sort of the without the sort of tricks that I get to employ as Rats or another AV7 team would have, which is like your penetrating bullhawks. I don't think we Norse have as many answers for Lizardmen. They still did pretty well in the blocking war. So Fogmire Fen Beast got 6 KOs and 2 injuries. You Worship Chaos got 4 KOs and 2 injuries and 1 kill. So that's pretty good. They got the win. Probably got some nice SPP distribution. Yeah, that's not bad. 15 SPP? It's above average. And the Fogmire Fen Beasts, they got what was that? 12 SPP. That's pretty good for a losing team. Not bad. Then we had Maximum Ogre Kill versus Gambler's Gals. So Maximum Ogre Kill, the famous either or Ogre team that went through as the stunty champion last playoffs, versus Gambler's Gals, the Amazon team that is stocked. This team is like built, and they really haven't been living up to the expectations that I have for them. We'll get into that in a second, but it was a 1-1 draw. So again, another game where Amazons just didn't really sort of capitalize on their innate advantage. 1 touchdown apiece. They did seem to. The Maximum Overkill did seem to get the better of them in blocks, but how can you have 0 possession? That makes no sense. Alright, well, maybe it was just like a 1 turn or something. Anyway, Maximum Overkill got 50% ball possession. Gambler's Girls had 0. Yeah, that's confusing. Anyway, about the same number of blocks succeeded. Maximum Overkill got more KOs and more injuries. But they weren't far off being sort of pretty equal on that front. Sounds like an interesting game. Then we had the other Lizardman team versus the Farm Animals, and that one ended in a the lizard beasts and versus the farm animals. So lizardmen versus chaos. This is a matchup that will probably favour chaos. So I think the lizard beasts did pretty well and Chapsu is a great coach, as we're going to see in a moment. Kiwi Bird's no slouch either, so I would say sort of pretty equal peggings on terms of coaching. But I would, if I didn't know anything about the teams and you said Chaos versus Lizardmen team, sort of fairly well developed, I would give it to the Chaos, just because of the ability to have claw, which would cleave through the Lizardmen team like butter, hot knife through butter. Anyway, again, this is a game where, well, the Chaos had more ball possession, they had way more blocks. Sorry, pardon me, having a little bit of a yawn there. 2 KOs versus 1, 4 injuries versus 2. So Animals definitely got the better of the blocking war, but again, it ended in a draw. They also got the better of the SPP gain. Oop! I went too far. Then we had, finishing out the week, we had Raskin Bobbins in a win over the Ulthwyn Sea Serpents. Oh, this one looked like it wasn't played, so it was a 1-0 admin win. And yeah, there we go. Should be 13 SPP. Oh, a little bit more than that. Okay. So yeah, we had Black Cherry, Mint Chocolate getting the MVPs, and then 2 touchdowns for Peanut Butter Cup and Banana. I would have thought that for non-playing they would get the 13 SPP that you would, same as you get for a bye week. Anyway, I'll look into that. And that was week 6. And then we have week 7 just finished. So we had bye playing bye, which is great. So that means that more of you are playing each other. The other bye week was You Worship Chaos got their free win, free admin win, bye week win. So that's good for them. Real matches. Gambas Gals got a win, and not any win. They got a win against Ars Gotia, which is one of the top performing teams in the division. So that was a real good result for Gambas Gals. We had basically exact match, even level pegging for ball possession. Gambas Gals actually had more blocks, so it looks like they're a little bit more aggressive. They can afford to be, because they have so many blodge pieces and mighty blow and strength ups. This is a really well tooled up team. 3 injuries inflicted, but Ars Gotia did get 1 injury and 1 kill, so that's pretty final. I'm not sure who you would give the winner of the blocking war to, but I don't know. I think I would probably prefer. I'd probably prefer the 3 injuries over the 1 injury and 1 kill. 1 kill is cool, but in terms of helping you win games, I would rather have 3 injuries. And that's what they did. They got the 3 injuries, and then they got a numbers advantage, and probably lorded it over and used it to kick Ars Gotia's arse. Yeah, there we go. So then we move on to the Lizard Beasts versus the Fogmire Fem Beasts, and Kiwi Birds Lizard Beasts won this one. I actually saw this one come up in REL chat. Looked like a good game. We had Yeah, it was a real bloodbath. Oh, that's right. The Lizard Beast won, but they paid the iron price. They actually had 2 pieces die, 5 pieces injured versus 2 pieces injured. It just looks like the Lizard Beasts were dedicated to winning the game, which is probably why they're doing a little bit better in the division standings than the Fogmire Fembeasts. The Fogmire Fembeasts were just all about going down swinging and causing as much mayhem and death and destruction as possible. I saw this one come up in the REL chat and as a match result, bot result. Definitely a Pyrrhic victory for the Lizard Beast there. Then we had the Rottingham Rockers winning over the Ultham Sea Serpents. This match was played, and it looks like the Rottingham Rockers were just able to strangle and suffocate the Ultham Sea Serpents. They got the 1 touchdown. Looks like they were not averse to fouling because they got an expulsion. The High Elves tried to do their usual thing of being all fancy and passing around the problem that is a nicely developed Nurgle team, but it doesn't look like they were able to pull it off. We had 18% ball possession versus 43, so definitely the Nurgle team love to keep the balls for themselves. 0 KOs inflicted, 0 injuries inflicted versus 3-3. And I think this is going to be a continuing trend for the Ultham Sea Serpents. Good coach, but at the stage of development they're in, it's one of those things where I think they've missed a few games. They haven't had a few games go their way, and more than their standings, it's affecting their team development. And one thing that High Elves need is just to get to the 1600 TV mark as fast as possible, because it's a real pain in the arse to develop High Elves. It's like pulling out teeth, getting blood from a stone. At least I found anyway. Probably one of the hardest elf teams to play with at lower TV. So the Ultham Sea Serpents got rocked by the Rottingham Rockers. Then we had Mutants in Human Clothing proving that the mighty Nurgle team isn't that mighty when they're facing the wily and mischievous and quite deadly Mutants in Human Clothing Underworld team. So they pulled out a 1-0 win, further allowing Spoony Bard to increase his dominance of the division. You'll see in a moment. I think he has a singular honour in REL, so we'll cover that in a sec. Looks like it was an interesting game. Basically, Underworld got the ball, decided to keep the ball, and didn't really give it back much. 31 blocks succeeded versus 44. Masking Bobbins definitely won the blocking war, but that doesn't seem to be the Mutants in Humans Clothing agenda. They seem to be about just sort of scoring, having to give the ball away and then getting it back as fast as possible. I think this is definitely a good solid win for Mutants in Human Clothing. And then we had, rounding out the week, we had the Farm Animals in a 2-0 win over Maximum Overkill. Not a huge surprise. Maximum Overkill, great team, but the Farm Animals are a great Chaos team, and they also have a pretty good coach at their helm. So I was expecting this one to go this way. Solid win. Take a quick look at the stats. Yeah, it looks like the Farmers were able to hold their own in terms of the blocking war against maximum overkill as well. So that's good. Good result for them. Okay, so that covers the action so far. Let's take a quick look at the leaderboard. So as I was kind of hinting at, yep, mutants in human clothing sitting pretty, well, very subjective term, but they are sitting pretty at the top of the leaderboard, with 7 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses. Yes, that's a perfect record, folks. He only has to do this for another half a season, and he'll have the perfect record. He'll be on a no-no. Spoony Bard is a veteran coach. He is somebody that I was predicting to do well, and yeah, he's doing it. Very, 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 very good performance so far. In second place, we have the Farm Animals, coached by Tabsu, and at a 5-2-0 record. The Farm Animals are a Chaos team that isn't as well developed. It's not the best developed Chaos team in the division. I think it's falling a little bit behind in terms of development of Ars Goetia, but Tabsu is just definitely proving that he is a really strong coach, because he's doing really good things with this team. As the weeks go on, I'm just becoming more and more sort of impressed with how Tabsu's doing. And I've spoken to him a bit as well in like chat and stuff, and he seems like a really nice guy, and yeah, solid coach. I think he's going to be a good part of the league, a good firm fixture, and somebody that you're going to definitely be fearful of in the coming seasons, more and more so. She-Ra is rocking third place, well, joint third place with Ars Goetia and the Lizard Beasts. Raskin Bobbins, Nurgle team, coached by She-Ra, and yeah, they're doing really well. I was expecting this team to do well next season, or the latter half of this season, but they're doing well right from the get-go. 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, and still sitting at only 1480 TV. That's mid-range, but Nurgle only becomes really, really scary when they're way up there. Spiraling expenses and all. But yep, she was doing really well. Then we have Ars Goetia, the Chaos team, coached by Zizetta. This is the better tooled, the better skilled Chaos team, and it's not just me that said that. Chabsu was saying it as well. Yeah, they're sitting at 5-1-1. I wouldn't be surprised if they maintained this record and maybe even bettered it. Zizetta's a good coach. This is a great team. I don't see any reason why they couldn't be doing this well or even better by the end of the season. Kiwi Bird is coaching the Lizard Beasts. This is the better performing Lizardman team, doing well. Kiwi Bird's another veteran coach. I'm sure that he's going to end up doing great things. He may even end up claiming one of the playoff spots. I wouldn't put it past him. I expect him to do well as well. Then we have You Worship Chaos and the Rottingham Rockers, so Norse and Nurgle, coached by Gazgul and Spirit Crusher, respectively. And the Norse team is they're mid-table, just like the Rottingham Rockers. But Gazgul is a really he's a known quantity to me. He's definitely a coach that I would, going into the match with him, I would probably be like, well, this is going to be a tough match. He does love his Norse as well, so I think he's won things like the Chaos Cup, HGMC, one of those one-day events. I think he won one of them recently. So definitely a guy that knows what he's doing, and definitely a good quality coach. And this is a good team. And so, start of the season, I was I'll get into this in a moment, but definitely this is a team that I would expect to be doing better. Maybe the fact that he's mid-table is just a testament to the strength of the other teams and coaches that are above him, but by no means is Gazgul a slouch. Definitely a very strong team and very strong coach. Running Rockers, another Nurgle team. This is probably a better developed Nurgle team, and Spirit Crusher is definitely rocking a pretty slick team. This is the team TV range though, where I expect to see Nurgle just explode in a shower of pussy glory and just obliterate everything that comes across their path, or contaminate. Gambas Gals coming in at 8th place. I mentioned this like last episode, or whenever it was I did the review of the team. Gambas Gals is an Amazon team, which is just like a good start, but this team has also developed just in disgusting ways, disgusting good. So I definitely it looks like Gambas are starting a little bit of a winning streak. If that continued, I wouldn't be surprised. If it faltered and died the death in its infancy, I also wouldn't be surprised. It seems like sort of Gambas Gals are a little bit hit and miss. Then we have Rylon with the Ulthon Sea Serpents. I said it before earlier in this episode. This high off team isn't doing amazingly in this season in terms of results and being on the leaderboard. They're in 9th place. They got 2 wins. But what's hurting this team even more than the fact that they're not winning matches and not sort of at the top of the tables is just missed games, or games where the game wasn't being able to be played, and games where they lost. I'm just not seeing a huge amount of development on this team, and that's the High Elves are definitely a team that you'd want to develop as fast as possible. Over performing well. I'd rather spend the rest of this season as Rylon just focusing on farming SPP, kind of, getting wins because wins equal SPP, but also just rather than trying that sort of last ditch play to get the win, I would maybe hedge my bets a little bit and spend a little bit of time trying to focus on SPP gain and just getting this team leveled. Random Maximus with Maximum Overkill, the already storied and infamous Ogre team that went through the playoffs last season, is rocking a respectable 1-1-5. I say respectable because it's Ogres. Very hit and miss. I think if I was Random Maximus, I would probably be hoping for a little bit more. I think everyone's always hoping for more, but with his team, I would be hoping for a few more wins. But at the end of the day, it's Ogres, so it is very sort of, to me, very hit and miss. So I'm sure some of those games he lost because he's Ogres, or just narrowly lost. Rolling Red with the Fogmire Fembeast is just rounding out the bottom of the division with 1 win and 6 losses. At a point now where I would just focus on developing the team and getting some development in and getting some foundations built on building a really strong team. Okay, so now we're going to move on to reviewing the teams. This is the mid-season review portion of the episode. So, starting at the top left here, we're going to go look at the Lizard Beast first, coached by KiwiBird44. Now, a lot of review shows will sort of look at the team and talk about how you've developed this skill and what have you. I'm going to take a little bit of a different tact. We've looked at all these teams already. We've reviewed the skill gains, and also especially at this level where skill ups aren't happening as rapidly. I think just looking at the way the 1 or 2 skills per team since we last looked at that team is probably a little bit of a waste. We're talking about a little bit more. So this mid-season review is going to be looking at the team as a whole and how it's developing, and then it's going to be talking about path to the playoffs or path to the end of the season, and sort of just where I think this team is maybe could do with improving or things they could build upon. So let's take a look. So yeah, this team is it's got a really nice Croxagore. It's got that block on the Croxagore. It's got a really nice Saurus, Tank of Dawn with the block, guard, break tackle. It does have an AV bust, but that's by no means the end of the world. No, you may remember from earlier in the episode, you just had KiwiBird just had that match versus the Fogmire Fembeasts, and there was just a ton of casualties. I've got a feeling that some of the Saurus were recycled. Maybe these two here. There is a distinct lack of development on the Saurus. That's going to be a problem. We also have so this is the team with a lot of the generic names. So we have Tenklashy with your Sneaky Git. We have Oi of Slanhopek. It looks like it's your one-turn piece, kinda. You also have another piece that is more of a one-turn piece. But anyway, this one had... you have got Sure Hands. That's amazing. Oh, there you go. I didn't even know that. So, yeah, what I was saying earlier about how a lot of the Lizardmen teams I face don't have Sure Hands. So KiwiBird obviously is a veteran coach, as I mentioned before, learning from that I wouldn't say mistake, but learning from that sort of error in that mode of thought. Going block on all your skinks when you roll a double is great for helping them live longer, but you are going to come across those teams where they just have they're terrible. If you're a Lizardman coach, it's a terrible thing to face a team. They have like a bullhawk, a reliable bullhawk that's just going with strip ball. It's just going to nip in there, leap into your cage if it's wood elves, or run into your cage if it's Skaven, and just steal the ball before you've even built momentum for a drive. So you got Sure Hands. That's amazing. Yeah, keep this piece, protect it, love it. But if you're facing me, I wanted to mysteriously die, because this is the main way that I win games against Lizardmen. So yeah, love this piece, look after this piece, protect it. Coaches facing KiwiBird this season, future seasons, kill this piece. It may not do you a huge amount of favours, but if you want to kill KiwiBird's momentum and season, taking out this piece is going to be a damn fine way to do it. We've got a number of skinks that just are sort of close to developing, and then we have Gex Jr., who is a Blodge movement up, sprint. So this is kind of a one-turner. He needs another movement up. But next skill is going to be either going to be sure feet or it's going to be that movement up. The skill after that, if you get that far with him, is probably going to be sidestep. Yeah, and then you'll have a legitimate one-turner. This is a one-turner with just a tiny bit of help. Yeah. Overall, a good team. Obviously, you're just missing a crap load of development. Try not to swear. Crap load of development on your Saurus, and that's probably not because you've not been trying to level them. You probably have leveled them and they've just died, which is unfortunate. But it happens. Love this piece. Love this piece. Everyone should hate this piece that you're facing. This piece is okay. Doing the best with what you have. Just need to get the 9 more SPP and get sidestep just to make your one turns a little bit easier. And I'll try that again without yawning. By the way, it's not that I'm just, I have now narcolepsy. It's actually just been a long day and it's late at night, probably early morning actually. So I'm yawning. I apologise, but it's just that's how it is. Yeah, great team, doing well. Just protect your Saurus and protect this piece, and you'll be okay. You Worship Chaos, coached by Gazgol, and this is a team that's suffered some attrition, obviously. AV7, you do have some really stunning pieces on this team though. So we've got the agility up runner, who is Blodge, Sure Hands, Tackle, Sidestep. I like the addition of Tackle. Obviously everything else is just to make this a really good ball carrier, and you've job done. Like, it's Blodge, it has an agility up, it has Sure Hands. Yeah, this is that. If you didn't have the other 2 levels of development, I would say this is a great ball carrier. With the other 2 levels of development, you've got Tackle, you've got Sidestep. It goes from being a piece with the one roll when you're on your offensive drive. This is going to be a great piece to carry the ball, score the touchdowns, and job done. If that was all the piece was, and I was the coach, I'd be happy. With the Tackle and the Sidestep, you've just added so many more dimensions to this one piece. It doesn't just have the one role, it has multiple roles. On your defensive drive, you can have this as your ball hawk, your safety. You can go in and blitz and get the ball carrier, and with your agility 4, you can maybe do a little bit of cage diving. And then if you want and the blitz isn't successful, you can leave this piece on the ball carrier, and then you can just laugh as people try to knock it away, so that the ball carrier can go away and score, and you're just sidestepping around the piece. It just these two additional skills just add so much dimension to this one piece, and turns it from a great piece into an amazing piece. And it's something that I'm really wanting to do. And I'm not trying to relate this back to my team, but it's just so that it's more, my point is more relatable. It's something that I'm trying to do with my gutter runners. I have my strip ball piece. He's only at 37 SPP. He hasn't seen nearly as much development as my other pieces. And he's great at what he does. He goes in, he has 2 heads, he has Rog, he has strip ball. And he's great when I am facing teams without Sure Hands. When I am facing teams with Sure Hands, he is blooming useless. I mean, he's a gutter runner. He has Rog. He has a use. I mean, he's another gutter runner. He's one of the best pieces in the game. But in terms of directed uses, specializations, half my games he's just a gutter runner. That's it, a Rog gutter runner. Because the 2 heads, yeah, it's useful. But the strip ball isn't useful if my opponent is just doing everything with sure hands, a ball carrying with a sure hands piece. So I'm wanting to develop him to be a sort of a pain in the bum. So I could, next level, could go for like Dauntless, to make his tackle and Dauntless, to make him like a really good ball hawk. But I have my AG5 Storm Vermin, so I'm thinking of actually developing him more as like taking tackle next, but then maybe going for shadowing or diving tackle or there was another skill I was thinking of, just to sort of plant him on a ball carrier and then just watch as the other team just squirms trying to shake this piece. I have another gutter runner that has Blodge Sidestep. Is that it? Blodge Sidestep or Blodge Sidestep Fend. So I'm going to develop the 2 pieces in together so that they're both like this annoying man marking plague upon the opposing team. So he's going to get tackle and shadowing and diving tackle, maybe. I'm going to spread the skills around, but basically I want to have these pieces that have a little bit more dimension to them. If that's the point I'm trying to make. Anyway, back to You Worship Chaos. Love this piece. Runs from Corruption, develops so strongly. No Suspicious Mutations, another amazing piece. Yeti with Block, Mighty Blow, and Break Tackle. So this is going to be an absolute terror on the pitch. With Block and Mighty Blow and Break Tackle, it means that nobody's safe. You have the 2 Ulfs that are solid. They got Block, they got Guard, they serve a purpose. Frenzied Lovin' is your killer piece. Well, your Yeti's a killer piece too. But yep, I like this piece as well. Shame it has a movement bust. And then you have your lineman with the Dirty Player and Kick. So that's a nice utility piece. I know, like, I actually really like this team. It's developing really well. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at Ars Goetia, coached by Zizeta. And this is the more developed Chaos team. I made a deal with the devil to win. That's definitely a mission statement if ever I heard one. So we have, and they're all named after demons, I think. Baal, definitely. Baleth. Those are names I recognise. Anyway, so we have, this is a nicely developing Chaos team. I often find that even at sort of 1620 TV, Chaos teams aren't as, there isn't that wealth of development that you'd see on other teams, just because they start with nothing apart from horns anyway. But yeah, this is a really nicely developing team. So we have 2 Blodge Chaos Warriors, one with Guard. We have the Mighty Blow Claw Chaos Warrior, so that's going to be one of your killer pieces. We have just a Block Chaos Warrior, and I like that. You have Ipos, who is just, he is so your killer on this team. It's Mighty Blow, well, Claw Pom, Block. Need I say more? Probably going to want to go for, if you get another doubles, go for Jump Up. if you don't, your next is probably your last. There is obviously the legend skill up, but just consider the 76 SPP skill up is the last one, and then if you manage to get to the next one, it's a bonus. For your next skill on that piece, I would probably take, if it was normal. Oh, actually, there's a few things you could take. Yeah, I would take either Stand Firm, Juggernaut. Yeah, Juggernaut might be nice, actually. Or maybe Frenzy. The reason why I'm not so sure on Frenzy is because it could lead you to getting Frenzy trapped, and maybe you don't need to take that risk with that piece. You could develop quite nicely. If you had Juggernaut or Stand Firm, I would think that would be a pretty cool piece. And obviously, if you get doubles, then Jump Up would be amazing. If you want to really hardcore devote him to being a killer. Then we have Floros, who's your agility up beastman with sure hands and block. Very nice. And then we have 2 guard beastmen, 1 with block, and then we have a tackle beastman. Probably running into a few of those more dodgy teams, so you need a tackle piece or 2. You might find it just a little bit of a while to wait before you level him up again. Although I do totally get the need for some tackle on this team. Doing really well, and maybe could be doing a little bit better as well. This is a very, very impressive Chaos team for this skill level, and Zeta is a great coach. I don't see any reason why Zeta wouldn't be topping the tables. This is turning out to be a very stacked division. A lot of really good teams in here, and I think Zeta's like joint 3rd or joint 4th in the division, which is really good, really impressive. But this is also definitely a team that I could see going on to have an even better second half of the season than the first was, which was already really impressive. Then we have the Fogmire Fembeasts. This is the other Lizardman team that isn't. So we have the Croxagore, who has taken guard and Stand Firm. Those are 2 solid choices. We also have a Saurus, who is Mighty Blow and Block. Is move and busted, but that's not necessarily the end of the world. We have another Saurus that's Blodge and AV10. That's still a choice that I'm questioning. Although it's still here, so it's working out for you. And then we have, obviously it's a Blodge AV10 piece. It's probably sticking around for a long time to come. Then we have a Dodge Saurus. I totally get why you were taking Dodge as your first skill. Makes the Saurus a little bit more survivable, but taking Dodge first thing is just making it a little bit harder for you to develop the Saurus. And I'm not seeing anything unique about that piece that's going to make it stand out from the rest of the pieces. It's going to give it a role, and that's something that I would definitely think about, is not just taking skills like Mighty Blow and Block and Guard because that's what you take, but also maybe think about, once you have those cornerstones down, those staples in place, is just picking a piece, assigning it a role. What's it going to do on the pitch over and above just being this big frigging brute that's just going to batter things? Maybe try and give it some skills that's going to help it develop and fulfill a role on the team. We also have another 2 Saurus, one with Block and Mighty Blow and Frenzy, the other one with Block, Mighty Blow, Tackle, Frenzy, and Leader So this is your killer piece on the team. I wouldn't get piling on. You're actually now just hit 76, so you're now on that long road to legend. So this piece should consider done. You're not going to get another level on it, if ever, but not for a very long time. For this piece, it looks like you're just going along the same route. So you've got the Mighty Blow, Frenzy, but rather than going tackle would be a great choice. I'm not saying it's not a great choice, but rather than going tackle again, maybe think about developing this one piece slightly differently. You've got Frenzy, maybe take Juggernaut, so you've got a nice Frenzy Juggernaut piece. It'll then just help you surf pieces like crazy, because nothing can stop you. Juggernaut's great for dealing with stand firm and wrestle and fend, as long as you're blitzing with that piece, which you could be, and it would probably be a good move. Then we have a few skinks. One of them has sidestep and is that leader? It is. It's leader, and you got doubles. You chose leader. I personally would have chosen block. I would have chosen sure hands. I've said it a few times this episode, but just for the record, that's what I would take. The reason why I wouldn't take leader on this piece is because it's a freaking skink. It's gonna die. I don't know. It's a double skill. Yeah, I would have taken block, or I would have taken sure hands. Infinitely more useful. Anyway, that's probably a minor misstep, but by no means the end of the world. Rolling Red's doing well, and unlike the other Lizardman team, this team is seeing a lot of nice development on the Saurus. It's a bit skink light. But then again, that's not a bad thing. I think skinks can be really, really good on the team. They are your loner linemen, but they can develop really nicely. They can be these really powerful pieces that you grow attached to and come to rely on. But it's the Saurus that you really want to develop as much as you can when you can. They're going to live longer. They're going to be the backbone of your team. And given enough development, they can do amazing things. So yeah, I think you've got a nice setup here. Better to have a full complement of Saurus and Crocs than to be having a wealth of skinks that died all too often. Okay, the Rottingham Rockers. The Rottingham Rockers is a very healthy Nurgle team. Love this piece of Nurgle. Stand firm, guard, added to the already disturbing presence, foul appearance, mighty blow, regen. Yeah, this is a nice roadblock. It's not going anywhere if it doesn't want to. Yeah, great piece. We have I love the naming scheme for this team as well. Lots of slightly adapted rocker names. So we have Ziggy Stardust, the Strength Up Nurgle Warrior. That's good. Only thing I would say about that is that obviously you take these kind of stat ups and especially the strength ups on an Nurgle team when you can get them, but not having block and a nice reliable way to block with that piece just means it's going to slow your development down a tiny bit. But totally get why you took the strength up. You take it when you can get it. We then have a Blodge Mighty Blow guard piece. Yeah, it's good. We also have two rookie Nurgle Warriors. In terms of the Pestigores, they're really doing really well. We have three Pestigores. One is Wrestle, tackle, and triple. If you get a double, go for dodge. Yeah, so that's a good piece. We also have another Pestigore who's developing into a bit of a killer. He has multi-blow, claw, and block. And then we have your ball carrying slime bag REL is sure hands, block, 2 heads, extra arms. This is a great ball carrying piece. And then we have the 2 rotters, one both with dirty player and one with guard. Mutants in humans clothing. The current leaders of the division. Yeah, this is just a scary ass team, isn't it, really? So we have the 2 blitzers that are claw, mighty blow, one's claw pom. We have Warpstone Troll, who's taken claw to go with mighty blow, guard and tentacles. That's another great piece. We have the 2 scale throwers. One has gotten block, the other one has block, extra arms and 2 heads. So that's your ball carrier piece, doing well. We have a Rog Skaven lineman, an undeveloped Skaven lineman, and then a fair few 2 heads gobbos. One is not 2 heads and he's blodge and sidestep. One is 2 heads and he has big hand, which is great. And then we have the other one, Akuro Mikasugi, with wrestle and horns. So that's an interesting piece. Yeah, I like it. Alrighty. Random Maximus. Oh, pardon me. Okay. Maximum Ogre Kill. We actually looked at this team earlier, so I'm not going to go into it too much detail, but we have block, guard, stand firm. We have block, break, tackle, stand firm. We have block, stand firm, and guard. So all very, very solid. We also have another Ogre My Dead Body, with Juggernaut, break, tackle, frenzy. So this is your nice safety piece. And then we have a bunch of Noblars, all with diving tackle, which is again another good choice. Farm animals. So this is the lesser developed Chaos team. It's still looking really good. We have Mighty Blow Claw Chaos Warrior. We have a Blodge Chaos Warrior with guard and stand firm. We have another Chaos Warrior with block. We have another one with block and guard. We have a number of quite a few rookie beastmen, but also a number that are really nicely developed. We have the dog, who is sure hands, block, sure hands, blodge, and 2 heads. Good choice. We have the rabbit 2, who is going to be developing into a killer piece. And then we have the pig, who has wrestle and tackle, which is great for those unexpected opportunities to sack the ball. Okay. And obviously Chabsu and the farm animals are doing really well. I think they're in 2nd place right now, so definitely very strong coach. Raskin Bobbins, coached by She-Ra. Yeah, this team is developing well. We have block, guard, Beast of Nurgle. We have 2 Chaos Warriors with block. We have 1 with strength up, block, and tackle. He's actually out next game, French Vanilla. That's going to be a loss. They're going to feel the effects of that loss. Then we have another 2 Pestigores with block, and 1 with Mighty Blow and Claw. And then Rotters. Looks like she was just going for wrestle across the board if they live that long. Ultimate Sea Servants. So Lizardman, not Lizardman, High Elf team, 1470 TV, they just need a little bit more development. So we have a kick lineman, great choice. We have a dodge lineman, we have three guard pieces, 2 of which have taken agility busts, so hopefully that was worth it. And then we have wrestle, we have blodge blitzers, and then we have a number of catchers, one with nerve of steel, one with dodge or blodge and tackle, and then we have the thrower, Nymphenian Aldaloth, who has taken sure hand and accurate. Good choices. Okay. Is that everybody? Oh, and then we have Gamba's Gals. I kind of reported on this one last episode, so again, it'll be another quick run through. We have Killer K, Rexa and Jenks, and Turd Fergal. Turd Fergal is the Agility 5 blitzer. That's just nuts. Then we have a Mighty Blow tackle guard piece. We have another one which is movement up. We have a strength up thrower. This team is just stacked. Very nice, very worrying team if I have to face this one. As I said, definitely need to pick up their game a little bit in terms of performance, but development on this team is just insane. Really, really good. Okay, so now I'm going to take a quick look at each team. We've looked at how the teams are developing, but now I want to take a quick look at each team and just sort of give you some thoughts on the team and how I think they're going to do, and things like that. So Lizardbeast has a great coach, a veteran coach, has always done well, and I think that Lizardbeasts are going to end up this season. I think they're going to end up in kind of where they are now-ish, maybe as high as 3rd place. I definitely think that they're going to do well. We just looked at the team, and I definitely think that there needs to be a focus on developing those Saurus. It might actually not be. You might want to sort of remove yourself from contention. Not remove yourself from contention, but just bow out gracefully for this season. Strong coach, but I definitely think that going into playoffs with a rookie Saurus lineup is going to be tough. Mutants in human clothing, Sweeney Bard, just I have a lot of respect for Spoony Bard as a coach, and the fact that he's able to go 7-0 or 7 wins straight, a perfect record so far. Not a huge surprise. I'm glad that he's doing something amazing right now. Definitely think you're a shoe-in for going through to the playoffs, and probably winning the division. Let's see. Have a quick look and see if Spoony Bard has played anybody that's close to him in the standings right now. So where are we? Using clothing, Fong Web Fan Beasts, human clothing. There's a bye week. Often Sea Serpents. Bye Black Sheep. Maximum Overkill. Furry bye week. So you've had all the bye weeks now. And then week 7, Raskin Bobbins. That was a win, and that was against a tougher opponent. That was good. Good for you. And there you go. That was the week. yeah, as I said, I don't see a reason why Speedy Wild would end up with a near perfect season. But then also on that flip side, he hasn't faced, of the top five, the four other teams in the top five, he's only faced one of those teams. So it may be that he goes up against the Farm Animals or Ars Gotia or any of the teams, but those 2 or 3 Lizard Beasts, those 2 or 3 especially, and just hits a more of a brick wall. But as I said, definitely wouldn't be surprised or dismayed to see Spoonie coming in at a perfect record. Farm Animals, Chabsu, as I said, I've been talking to him on Discord. What I've seen of him this season has been impressive. Definitely is getting the good results. Much stronger coach than I thought, especially considering he's developing an undeveloped Chaos team, which means that it's really undeveloped in comparison to a lot of the other teams in this division. And yet he's still got a really good record in second place. So that's definite testament to Chabsu. Got to be honest though, I Farm Animals were in one of the divisions I was covering last season. They didn't stand out for me. That's probably because they were first season and you need time to develop Chaos teams. But as this season has gone on, Chabsu has definitely made me pay attention. Definitely doing amazing things, and I'm aboard the Farm Animals train. I definitely think that they're going to have a great season this season, great remainder of this season, and an amazing season going forward, and maybe even doing sort of well going through to the playoffs. Raskin Bobbins, yep, she was doing amazing things with this Nurgle team. Was doing amazing things with this Nurgle team last season as well, which was the first for She-Ra and this team. There's only 2 playoff spots, and I don't think she was going to take one of those spots. I think it's going to be as it stands now, but I think that there's more of an opportunity for She-Ra not quite to convert the wins in the remainder of the games for the season. Zizetta started strong, is still strong, but I'm not noticing that the utter dominance that I was seeing earlier in the season. Games seem to be a little bit tighter, and yeah, I think Zizetta's an amazing coach. And if I'd have seen him and the team at first place, I wouldn't be surprised. Lizard Beasts, we've covered already. You Worship Chaos, coached by Gazgul. So this is probably the one team, or one of 2 teams, where I'm a little bit surprised at where they're at. As I said, Gazgul's a really good coach. The team is good, what is remaining of it. I love that runner. I mean, I really love that runner. It's really, really good, really, really strong. Yeti's great. The other pieces are solid. Again, I don't see a reason why there couldn't be a meteoric rise to win the division or come in at least at one of the playoff spots. Spirit Crusher is the other Nurgle team, and definitely has the team for the division. This is a really nicely leveled and a higher TV team, but I'm just not seeing as much conversion with the skill set that you have into getting the wins. I think that might need to be a bit more of a focus. I think there's more of a focus in winning the attrition game, which is great, especially when you're a heavy bash control team like Nurgle. But I've had plenty of games where I was facing like my games historically against Pig Sofa have always been games where I'm AV7, he's AV9 dwarves, and he proceeds to wipe the floor with me. But those games, the first time around, we've met up twice. The first time around, it ended up in a draw. Second time around, I won. So if your attrition game and that's what your tactic is doesn't work, which it can easily do, even against like AV teams like myself, then you've got nothing to fall back on, and you need to have a plan B, is what I'm saying. You've got the team. I think you're a competent coach, but I think that you need to shift focus a little bit from getting the attrition going. Definitely keep the attrition going, but don't make that your sole focus, because you can win with Nurgle. You have the TV. I almost won an entire competition with Nurgle, so I can see their value, and that you can push them a little bit more to be a bit more of a scoring team rather than a killing team. Strike a healthy balance is what I'm trying to say. Gambas Gals is just the other team that I'm just a little bit shocked at, because the development on this team is just insane. It's one of those real marquee teams that people just post screenshots of to look in at wonder, at all the skill ups you've had and just the lucky breaks in terms of doubles and skill ups and stat ups. And then we have rolling out the bottom of the division, we have Rylon, the Eltham Sea Serpents. Again, I've said it throughout this episode, you're at a point where, and you probably were at a point at the beginning of the season where maybe getting wins and getting a playoff berth should take a back seat to getting your team development up there as fast as possible. By all means, get the wins. That's what we're here for, is to play the games and win them. But a little tip from me is that to really have a high elf team that shines and is a joy to play and does amazing things and lots of elf bullshit, you need to just get more skills on the team and ramp up that development and SPP allocation to this team. Maximum Overkill, I think, are doing well. I think they have great skills. For an ogre team, I don't think you're going to make the stunty spot for the playoffs. There are other teams that are having just stellar seasons, but I think you're doing well this season. Could be better, yes, of course it could, but even with this record, I would still say it's something you can be happy with, because you're ogres. And then we have the Fogmire FM Beasts, the other Lizardman team that doesn't seem to have quite reached its full potential. So I'm hoping the second half of the season brings more direction for Rolling Red and more of a solidified plan of action on how to win the game. So I think that's something that may be missing. You're not able to convert the damage you're doing with into a score and a win. Okay, so that about covers it for REL Division 6, weeks 6 and 7. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. My apologies again for all the yawning. I'm actually literally like falling asleep. My eyes are closed and I'm ready to go to sleep now. So I'm going to cut it off. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. I will be back with a more standardized episode next week for the week 8 action. It's been great. It's been a blast, guys. Have a great week. Enjoy your games, win your games, and have fun.